This is basically one of the biggest shifts that's happened in retail in the last decade, and we broke it out by the different types of retail sectors. And as you can see, the 2010 column has the share of the various breakouts of all of the different types of hard goods, as well as bricks and mortar, as well as the pure play retailers. The 2010 column shows the migration, and then the change on the last column. Two types of retailers gained share: the warehouse clubs and the online retailers. And when we think about the online retail sector, it really is the story of a single player. And simply to call Amazon the Walmart of the web would probably be one of the biggest understatements of all time, because in my mind it really is much bigger than that. It's actually about Amazon actually being the new Walmart. And this is a little bit of that data to help support that. There are a few investment banking studies that have actually been put out. This is one from Baird. Wells Fargo has another one too. But the two basic data points here that are particularly critical is that versus bricks and mortar store, Amazon not only beats many of these retailers, the only exception being Costco and Dollar General on price. Let me say that again. Amazon is now beating Walmart on price. Did we ever think that we would come to a day that there would be anybody beating Walmart on price? But the other column is that even including sales tax in the calculation, Amazon still beats everybody on price. So that's a lot of what the bricks and mortar challenge has been, is that, well, let's push sales tax and we can finally get to parity. Now, a significant part of the analysis there is, well, what is it about Amazon that they're able to do what they do and enables them to price what it is? Because so much of the conventional wisdom is, oh, they have that scale that really enables them to do that. But the reality is more about the mix of some of their businesses, and which many of the brands, the audience knows, it really is highly correlated to the marketplace. And the marketplace, for those of you who don't know, is about 36% of the units that are sold on Amazon, and it's products that essentially are not shipped or owned in inventory, and it's all of those offers that are on the right-hand side of the slide. And the beauty of that is that they're incredibly high margin. In fact, such high margin that by my estimates, the amount of revenue that Amazon is making from Marketplace is almost in lockstep with their entire profitability. And we know that there are other profit pools of the company, like advertising and some of its digital services and cloud services. So that blue column is actually higher. So a significant part of the way that they're able to beat a lot of the incumbent bricks and mortar players is because they're simply underpricing and using some of these other methods to drive that gain. And that is one of the biggest reasons that we see this, which is virtually every major competitor of Amazon in the bricks and mortar world now engaging in some sort of a marketplace presence. And the reality is that pretty much is the path to survival, because it really is either this or it's this. And that's a pretty critical piece of the understanding of why we're seeing marketplace and all of this the shift in that way. A lot of the balance of power is shifting to Amazon in other ways too. A lot of it is about how consumers are choosing to spend more of their wallet share, and Amazon Prime is absolutely a significant piece of that. We've done surveys over the last couple of years with BizRate Insights, and even in the last 12 months, between 2010 and 2011, now from 9 to 12% is the increase in the percent of online shoppers that are now part of essentially some sort of a web continuity program. So apologies for the slide here, but basically what this breakout is of those consumers that are now part of a web continuity program. For the most part, it's Amazon Prime, because nobody really is part of ShopRunner yet. It goes to where the breakout of more than half of those consumers are actually choosing to spend much of that incremental dollar volume with Amazon. The concept of private label is also something that they are absolutely committed to. And it's something that you don't really hear a lot about, but it is important to keep that in mind. This is their Amazon Basics line, which isn't their CPG line yet, but what it is essentially their line of consumer electronics products that they've got into the business of sourcing, manufacturing, and now selling. So I don't envision that, or I do envision that paper and plastic probably wouldn't be that far removed. So what does that mean for brands, and what's the next step that brands can do in this journey to ensure that you not only grow in the channel that's so incredibly important to you, but that you still are able to maintain margin and grow the business that you need to? And I have 4 points here on the slide, but so we'll start and go through them each sequentially. One is to do the most that you can to help support those bricks and mortar businesses like the grocers, supporting pick from store and ship to store programs for your key regional accounts. We really, really think that that is probably one of the biggest ways that bricks and mortar retailers will in fact be able to compete with the distribution system of Amazon with its 40+ distribution centers around the world, is to have these local businesses that are able to essentially be the commercial pickup destinations. And really partners like Buy.com are actually good partners for that for a few reasons. One is that they actually have a marketplace that's much more friendly for merchants, but also Buy.com is now owned by Rakuten, and Rakuten is probably one of your biggest marketplace success stories globally. In Japan, they essentially have been doing this for years, where they take online orders and ship them to 7-Elevens, and that's an incredibly impactful way to help cut costs, but at the same time deliver value and service to customers. Local stores can't match the web selection, but they absolutely are good in-store pickup locations. And just to give you a couple of examples, that image on the left side of the screen, these are all products that were once sold in my local stores, my local big box stores, but because their long tail assortment are now only available online. So the idea is to take those kinds of items, and instead of only allowing it on places like Amazon, perhaps shipping them to a local Safeway or a local Kroger. This is an example on the back side of the screen of John Lewis, which is a department store in the UK that takes its online orders and gives consumers the opportunity to pick them up at Waitrose stores, also in the UK. So some interesting ways of kind of communicating that. Target is definitely also a player and a partner in this entire journey. They weren't referring to CPG in this letter that many of you have probably seen. They were probably more likely focused on some of those hard goods players that are more in the near term impacted by some of the showrooming that's going on. But creativity is going to be essential in every category. And that's really the letter that Greg Steinhoffel sent out to, and I believe I was talking to somebody at dinner yesterday that you guys absolutely saw this as well. But the idea being, how can you help change and impact your assortment so that it's unique to them, and it really helps to eliminate some of the showrooming or reduce it in a way that is a win-win-win for everybody. My third point is to keep up the investment in your mobile in-store efforts, and we've seen many, many examples of that here today. It's partners like Motive and Aislebuyer that are really the ones that will probably lead the charge, in particular for CPG, as well as for the retailers in the bricks and mortar consumable space. They'll be your best bet for improving personalization and getting the most you can out of your shopper marketing dollars. And the last bit is that every trip that any of you take to San Francisco, please go meet with eBay, because they are desperate to beat Amazon. And their X.commerce initiative is probably one of the only left remaining opportunities of a company with scale and hunger and capability to provide another channel for you. And they need you as much as you need them, and they can really help you with those smaller customers to help neutralize some of these other threats. So that is my piece. So hopefully I made up a little bit of time here, and thank you all. So.